Hello my people, I'm Gideon and this is Gideon's Tech in 20 minutes. So I hope you'll enjoy and keep subscribing and telling your friends subscribe. You can share my videos and that will help a lot to reach more people. So today I'm going to take on a few things that are going on in our country, Kenya. And I hope as much as we learn about our Kenya, we keep on educating each other and that one day we will see a better Kenya for everyone. So first I'm going to talk about one issue that I came across today when I was going through Twitter updates. I saw that KRA is trying to improve its tax base. First, it is going to look into people's bank accounts. And this means that if you have a bank account and you put your money there, KRA will have access to that account and they are going to look into how much you're putting there so that they can equate that to what you are contributing towards tax. KRA has suspended people file nil returns. This means there is no one in Kenya now is able to file nil returns. So for those who have been filing nil returns, that one has been taken out as an option and they will come back in March. Before then, they will have to scrutinize all the accounts of the people who has been filing these returns and check why have they been filing, do they have income, or if they don't have income, where have they been getting money to consume from. And through that, maybe they are going to look at the channels of money, of income. They are going to follow so many ways. I don't know how they are going to do it, but they are going to do it. They are trying to put as many people into the contributory bracket, and that's why they are using the banks as a source of that information. They also look into the people who have cars or who have been living in a luxurious lives, like those who have been traveling on and off using flights. For example, they are going to get reports from KCA so that they can understand why people have been flying and yet they cannot file the returns. Also about those who are owning cars, those are other people who have been targeted by KRA because you cannot own a car and yet you claim that you do not have an income. These are all the people who have been brought into that bracket. Let us see how it unfolds. I hope they are not going to infringe into people's privacy, because when it comes into looking into people's accounts like bank statements and so, or looking into people who have been flying, maybe you have been flown out or you have been given a ticket by a friend, by a family, just being rewarded for good work or just because of performance, and maybe when they can bring other people who should not be involved in these issues. But let us see how it goes. If they get many people into the tax bracket, well and good. Now these are the statistics in the taxation in Kenya. First, we are going to look at people who are taxed directly, and according to statistics, around 3 million to 3.5 are the people who pay tax through PSU1. These are the people who are taxed directly from their pay slips, and this is the number that the government is sure they are going to pay. So when the government is introducing levies, the house levy, the NSSF, SHA, these are the people whom they are targeting. I have seen people complaining that people might say SHA is not working, but when you look at the contributory rate and the people are claiming to be compensated or to be treated using SHA, it is impossible for SHA to clear those requests out of the money that is contributed. Because when you look, people who contribute religiously or who contribute well, they are people who have pay slips because their contribution to SHA or to health insurance is cut direct from the salaries. But for the people working in the informal sector who account to up to 15 million Kenyans, are not well documented, and it is impossible to know how much they can contribute or how much they should contribute towards those schemes. Most of housing levy, SHA, and other forms of taxes. So when KRA tries to capture these numbers and get them to start paying taxes. Many people might feel that their privacy has been infringed or they are being taxed unfairly. However, if we look at it clearly without judging, if as many people as possible can be brought to taxation bracket, maybe we would have improved our economy. I'm not saying that because I'm not saying that because I feel these people are not paying tax, are paying it illegally, but it is always good to contribute to the taxes. Many people, we have been saying that we pay taxes through VAT, but also remember those who are taxed through PSU1 through their pay slips, they also pay VAT. So VAT, as much as you pay VAT, we should also contribute towards KRA. Again, as I was going through the news, I have seen that government is increasing taxes on the short stay rentals like the lodgings and the Airbnbs. So the government is trying to capture also that people to bring them to the bracket of rental income. So if you have been running Airbnbs and you have not been paying your tax, you should prepare your records, and because you're going to be brought to book, and now your income shall count for taxation. The short-term income tax for rentals will be increased by 2%, and that will take effect in June this year, 2026. When you look further into the news, you're going to see that on February 3rd, that is coming month, diapers, sanitary pads and detergents are going to attract an increase of 20% taxation, and that means that for the diapers or a diaper pack that you are buying for around 2,000 receipt, we're going to increase it around 500 shillings. For a sanitary pad that you are buying for around 220 shillings is going to increase with around 40 shillings to 260 and above. For the detergents, also you can calculate the same with 20% increase in the cost of those items. So I think government is trying everything possible to get money from people. However, when I look back, these are some of the things that people are complaining. They were saying that you cannot give condoms for free and you start taxing diapers. That does not make sense to many people. And yes, I agree with it. Women should be given free sanitary pads as long as they cannot afford it. So no woman should be punished for not being able to afford sanitary pads. So the government should look into that and correct. That is not the right way to go. For the diapers, also if you want the country to grow, the population should also increase. So if you are going to tax diaper packs, that means people are going to be very, very, very careful when they are giving birth, because if someone was to give birth to the children, maybe they are going to reduce that number so that they can cater for the needs of the children. And sanitary pads takes a very large part of the income from the parents. So the government should also look into that. For the detergents, also they should not overtax. This kind of taxes will discourage people from spending, and if people do not spend enough, which means taxes are not being collected enough. I was also reading through social media, and again I saw someone asking if during the time of voting the government should introduce a way of testing people's IQ, and only people with certain threshold should be allowed to vote. Let us look this step by step. Let us say that certain people with certain IQ are allowed to vote. What about the rest of the population? Aren't they going to start complaining that they have been discriminated against? When you look back in history, you will see that even before all humanity was allowed to vote, only the elite, only few people were allowed to vote, and they used to select people according to their interest. Let's say, for instance, in a community of 1,000 people, we have an elite group of around 50 people. So these 50 people are going to meet and elect like 5 people to lead that community. So in a group of 1,000 people, only 50 people have the say on who is going to lead. So how long will it take for these people to know whether they are doing wrong, and how much complaining will it take the members of the community for this elite group of 50 people to know that they are making wrong choices for the people? When a lot of improvements were made as the time passed and history proved that that could not work, this elite group was improved into the men's only elections. So for a long time, the men were allowed to vote, but women were not allowed, until there were a lot of discussions, a lot of complaints against discrimination, and women are allowed to vote. So having gone through all that process, from few elite people who are electing leaders to men only, and to a point where everyone is allowed to vote, and I'm not thinking that we should allow only few people to vote. Isn't that taking people back into the darkness, or what should we call that? On the other hand, we can think of it this way: when you allow everyone to vote, you're going to give a chance to people who do not care about leadership. These are the people who are going to vote anyway. They are not going to care who they are voting for. They are not going to care the impact of this person in the governance. They are not even going to care what will come from the leadership of these people. They are not even capable. They will not, even if they are capable, these people will not even bother to look into the people those are voting. For instance, let us say you have two people. One is a killer. The other one is a good person. We cannot say perfect because no one is perfect. But the other one is perfect, and the other one is tarnished. But the perfect person, or the good candidate, is not popular, does not talk a lot, but their deeds are known, and they are known they can perform well. Then there is this one, the tarnished one, who has done a lot of bad things. They talk a lot, they interact with people a lot. So when you allow everyone to vote, maybe the talkative one, the one who has been doing everything possible to win the elections, is going to win. But now you're going to miss out on the good person. However, when you allow only few people who have certain threshold of IQ to vote, people can research and find the right candidate. Maybe they're going to come up with a good candidate. But for how long? How long are you going to trust, or how much are you going to trust these people are not going just to extend or just to follow the interest? Because everyone has interest, and as much as these people are capable of chasing their interest, it is very difficult to know if they are chasing their interest or they are trying to serve the humanity. I'm also going to talk about the use of emotions when you are voting. During the campaign period, or when leaders know that they want to take certain position, either nationally or in the county position, they try to dig emotions out of people. They try to make people as emotional as they can. Let us look back into 2024 after the fallout of the government, the president and the deputy. That was in the midst of the Gen Z demonstrations that was almost overthrowing the government, because the government was not accountable, the government was not doing what is asked. And also they are bringing these punitive taxes like those ones which they're imposing on diapers and sanitary pants. When Generation Z woke up and said that they do not want those kind of punitive taxes, and they rose against the government, and they questioned a lot of decisions by the government, our deputy president went on and tried to, and became a friend of Gen Z, or just labeled himself as the friend of Gen Z. And so there were many other leaders who imposed themselves into this group. So when you look at it, these are the people now who have come to whip emotions into this generation. As much as this generation is vulnerable, most of the youths or the people in this generation have never voted. and now you come to whip emotions into them, and you try to make them to be as emotional as they can. You are just trying to make these people or an army that is going to vote for you come 2027.
Tumesikia rais wa taifa la Kenya anaseta agenda kwa upinzani. Na mimi husema agenda yetu ya kwanza na ni ya muhimu ni kuondoa Rais Ruto kwenye utawala wa taifa hili. Tukisha muondoa 80% of our problems zitakuwa zinasuluhishwa. Sisi tuko na agenda. Asiambie kwamba agenda ya kwenda sisi nyota, kwenda sisi empowerment programs, sisi kwenda kufanya hivi ndio agenda ambayo tunataka kufanyia wa Kenya. Hapana. Tunataka taifa ambalo liko modern, ambalo linaheshimiwa.
So if we are suggesting that we collect a group of certain people with certain threshold of IQ, why can't we say that people who are easily emotionally triggered should not be allowed to vote? Because if you only vote out of emotions, you're not going to make even the right decision. Let us look back in history since 2024 during those demonstrations. We have seen many leaders who have come from the ruling party UDA. They have stood with Generation Z for some time. They have identified with the Generation Z. We can also look at Wamshomba and their colleagues who had deviated from the ruling party UDA. They went into the opposition. They ran with the opposition for some time. But then within no time, these people traced their steps back into the ruling party. Now they do not have shame. These are the people who seem to be driven by emotions. So if our leaders can try as much as possible to whip emotionally trust or even act emotionally, like you are just trying to associate with the Gen Z because you see a lot of votes in them. But then when voter registration comes and you see this is a group that does not register for voting, you trace your steps back and you go back to where you came from. That means we cannot trust either our leaders and also people who are easily emotionally triggered. So the people who have a lot of emotions should also not be allowed to vote. But that's a discussion for another day, because it is a very emotional discussion as well. And when you discuss it, when you're not prepared well to handle a lot of people who are going to who are going to start now complaining or analyzing or critiquing what you're saying, it is going to take a lot of time. So now let me pose the question. Should we allow people with certain threshold of IQ to vote and let others just move on? Or should we be responsible enough as a country, a whole country? Should we educate everyone in the country to be responsible enough to vote in the right presidency or the right leadership, from the MCA to the governor to the senator to the MP and then the president? And when I'm saying that now, I remember today, when I was watching news, I heard Moses Wetangula telling his colleagues that only 44% of the people who are in the parliament today might see the floor of the parliament after the next election, and that has been the cycle.
On the average, our attrition rate is 56%. So as we sit here, at least 56% will not see the inside of Parliament next Parliament. And we want to make sure that they must...
So now, considering that he knows that, what are many of the MPs doing now to secure the second term? When you look at our leaders, only few leaders have been capable to display their urgency into serving the people. Only few leaders have shown the capability or even the urge to come and do whatever they were sent into the parliament to do. Others have just gone there. They have even got lost into the group. Even some of MPs are not even heard talking in the floor. They are not debating. They are not coming up with the policies, and yet they want another term. When he was saying that, and since now they are not going to come back into parliament, they should have a plan so that when they get out of the position, out of leadership, they are not going to struggle financially. They are not going to be set back after having a very lucrative 5 years. What does this mean? This now brings me back to the news that I saw during the UDM national meeting the general meeting that they had in the State House, the president was saying that he's going to introduce the MCAs and governors into pension schemes, just like MPs are into it. So when you look at the amendments of the Pensions Act 2022, you see that MPs were made to get pensions after serving for 2 terms in the presidency. And even when you look closer, these are the same people who now are trying to amend the bills again now to make it possible for anyone who becomes an MP, even if you go for 1 term, you're capable of getting a pension. Now you can see the amount of burden that is going to be laid on the taxpayers' backs, because the money that the MPs will be paid for their compensation or for the pension is going to come from the taxes. And you know how many MPs we have. So if they're going to add MCAs, they're going to add governors, and since they already have MPs and senators, it is going to be a very big burden. And even people, if MPs make it 1 term, anyone who serves 1 term for 5 years can get pension. You can imagine how many MPs are not even going to perform, because they know even if I don't perform, when I get out of this office, I will never struggle again in life. And also, if you analyze the Wetangula speech well, you can see the vulnerability and even the message that he's trying to send to the MPs. He's telling them, if you're not performing well, all your people are giving you a signal that they can take you out. You better steal as much as you can, or keep as much as you can, and you secure a future for yourself. What does that mean? These are MPs that are even not going to fight for a better Kenya, because they know they are served, they are well prepared for the future. So they are not even going to worry about the general citizenry. So we should be careful on that. Before I finish, I want to talk about the things that I've seen in the churches, and they are very disturbing. When you flash back a week ago, a few days ago, we had this lady called Marion. She was caught in a club with a married man. That man was called Opande, and they gave Kenyans a very nasty video. That man was recording that lady lifting her clothes and showing the private parts, and that is very nasty. However, there are many people who have come out in the name of helping this lady, and it's like they are making fun of her, or they are trying to indignify her, making her life even look, or they are just making her look more desperate. Starting with Masiria, he came out, he said that he's talking for her because he can feel, or he wants to be the voice for the women or for the ladies who go through such things, because he has sisters and women figures in his life. But when you look at it closely, you see that his major aim was just to garner the sympathies and also the masses that were following the news at the moment, and that is very disgusting. People should not take advantage of a certain kind of situation so that they can gain fame. Also, when you look at it again, we saw Tumbili going also to the lady, and they made some videos, recorded. Lastly, I saw that lady at Kanyaris.
My new sweetheart in town, and she is here. Na nilikwambia ukuja mapema uhubiri. Leo main service no ulikuwa uhubiri. Kuja. Wangapi wanajua my girl.
Now this is my question. What is the role of church in the community? The role of church, according to me and how I understand the gospel, the role of church now is to bring sanity into the society. And for what we have seen in many of our churches today, and these churches which call themselves faith-based, it is somehow confusing on what we should believe or what we should understand about the role of church in the society. You find that the church is the one which is now promoting immorality. Like when you look at the Kanyaris church, it is somehow bringing the vibes of he doesn't care about even what he's preaching about. If he's preaching about eternal life, about heaven and hell, maybe it isn't that he does not believe in it. He does not believe in those news, in those stories. So how should we believe as followers and as Christians? It is very disturbing. I watched a video of him praying for that lady at certain Sunday, and now I also watched it again for him parading the lady in front of the church. And for me, it looks disturbing because that lady, I know she has not healed from the trauma and everything that has been going on in social media. And if after all she's holding up, maybe when all the emotions now catch up with her, this lady will not be able to control herself, and we don't know what might happen. So as church elders, I pray that as much as we try to put ourselves as helpers or as people who are caring for others, we should try as much as we can to show that we also have humanity and we can hold people with dignity. Even if she repented, she got saved, it is not Kanyari's duty to parade her anyhow he wants. He can give her a dignified welcome into the church and let her just lay low for some time. And when she feels comfortable, and then everything passes, because as we all say, time heals, and at some point everyone will start minding their own business, and this lady will not feel the burden to prove herself. Now she can come out and say that she changed her ways and she was saved, as she says. But at this point, I don't see the sense of doing all that. So I hope that we are going to change, and as a country we are going to keep improving. So those are the current news. I hope to keep updating you, and at some point I'll be giving you multiple videos per day, and I know we are going to build a better Kenya together.